Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XLM. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XLM. I'm going to start with this. U.S. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene recently stated that the United States should go back to the gold standard. She also stressed that the U.S. should not go behind digital currency payment systems. Now, she's not talking about crypto. She's talking about a CBDC. Other politicians are getting on board to fight back against CBDCs as well. But take notice how she talks about going back to the gold standard. She's not alone in that. Three U.S. congressmen, Alex Mooney, Andy Biggs, and Paul Gosar, have introduced a bill to stabilize the value of the dollar by associating it with gold. More specifically, the gold standard bill intends to facilitate the repegging of the volatile dollar to a fixed weight of gold bullion. Now, here's the problem. The country's $32 trillion in debt. You have the Fed, the Treasury, and the White House pushing for a CBDC because we're never paying that debt back. They want a full-on reset, and that's what's going to happen when a CBDC rolls out. Now, I can see a gold-backed digital currency in the future. Will this be the end for Ripple, Stellar Lumens, and stablecoins? FedNow 24/7 payment service to arrive in July of 2023. I always feel like they're talking like FUD when they do these articles. They even try to point out the fact of how cheap FedNow is, but they don't talk about how fast it is. The cheaper transaction fee of crypto that makes it largely patronized is also under threat as FedNow promises lower cost than almost any blockchain. It is reported that the financial institutions would be charged a de minimis $25 monthly access fee by the Federal Reserve. This is just a fraction of the cost of running single nodes on most public blockchains. FedNow will charge just 4.5 cents per transaction for payments up to $100,000 paid by the sender and 1 cent per transaction request paid by the requester. Now, they also talk about going with Cypherium. I believe Cypherium is the biggest scam going right now. But hey, I believe they're going to roll this system out and it's going to fail out of the gate. Then they're going to bring about a full-on CBDC. Because here in the U.S., they'll never get a CBDC put in place. Nobody will ever vote for it. But under Executive Order 14067, it says in an emergency situation, they can go live with the CBDC. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. What I do know is that Stellar is a much better option. 5 reasons why Stellar blockchain is best for remittances in 2023. So first, it's inexpensive. Everyone loves to send money for free. With the Stellar blockchain, payments cost only, let's just say it's free because it's fractions of a penny. And it's fast. Payments settle in under 5 seconds. When was the last time you sent money internationally in less than 5 seconds? It's also growing rapidly. Stellar already supports more than 180 countries via its MoneyGram integration. There are over 20 payment on-off ramps called anchors. These anchors provide support for countries like Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, and Nigeria, and the USA via the USDC token. Coinme recently added over 40,000 cash-in and cash-out locations in the United States. So you see how Stellar is already integrated all throughout the world. It's being utilized on a daily basis right now as well. Multifunctional, Stellar has anchors for most major cryptocurrencies used for payments, including XLM, XRP, USDC, Bitcoin Lightning, and Litecoin. It also has a built-in distributed exchange and liquidity pools for swapping currencies. Smart contracts. The Soroban smart contract system was introduced to Stellar in 2023. The system will allow users everywhere to access DeFi functionality for saving, trading, and borrowing. We're going to talk more about that later in this video. DFS Lab and Stellar Blockchain launched the Africa Fundi to transform digital payments in Africa. Now, one thing I want to point out here is this. It's not just payments. It goes a little bit beyond that. We're open to various use cases, but we're especially interested in those solving for fiat to crypto ramps and those building cross-border payments for the continent. We'll fund both teams that are familiar with the Stellar platform along those who want to integrate Stellar into their product roadmap for the first time. We plan on initial investments of up to 100,000 US dollars, with further follow-on investments possible as teams grow. So they're looking to improve their payment system, but there's also going to be other growth, other use cases coming to the Stellar blockchain as well. BPV announces ISO 222 support for the Stellar blockchain and Circle USDC. So BP Ventures, a blockchain consulting and software services firm, has completed development of support for ISO 222 on the Stellar blockchain. The move will open possibilities for trillions of dollars worth of financial sector transfer volume to migrate to the Stellar network. You know, once ISO went live, everybody said, see, I told you these cryptocurrencies aren't going to rise in value. But what people don't understand is we're just getting started. It's going to take time for this system to build out. And as it does, you're going to see XLM rise in value. It's not going to be sitting at a cheap price in the future. The new financial system, and you see right here, backed digital assets. Now, they always talked about, XLM backed by silver, but it doesn't need to be backed by anything. Think about it. All the digital currencies of every country going back to the gold standard all throughout the world, transacting on a daily basis. XLM cannot be sitting at a cheap price. It doesn't need to be backed by anything, but it's going to get a monetary value. Gold isn't backed by anything, yet it has value. XLM doesn't need to be backed by anything to be high priced. Tokenization is revolutionizing traditional finance. Now, this concept isn't new, but over the past few months, a number of large banks and other companies have begun using this process. In November, for instance, U.S. banking giant JP Morgan executed the first live trade using tokenized versions of the yen and the Singapore dollar on the Polygon blockchain. A month later, asset manager Wisdom Tree unveiled 9 digital funds, adding to the one it had started successfully early in the year. The funds allowed the transfer agent to keep secondary record of shares on either the Stellar or Ethereum blockchains. Now, I don't believe in the future they're going to choose Ethereum because it's too slow and congested and very expensive. Stellar is a much better option. So as far as tokenization of real-world assets, I believe Stellar is definitely going to have a lot of value there as well. It's also going to add value to XLM. Introducing Blend. Now this is something new. Blend is a liquidity protocol primitive. It's the foundation of which safe, efficient lending pools are created by anyone. An entity can create a lending pool to enable users to earn interest and borrow assets, all while being insured by a unique backstop module. Creators are given plenty of controls from supported assets, collateral requirements, custom oracles, and immutability, such that almost no use case is left out. Now we're going to start seeing how you can borrow against your crypto. We'll talk more about that as well. There are no requirements to deploy a blend lending pool. Anyone can utilize this tool to bring additional functionality to their Stellar-based assets. I believe we're getting closer and closer to being able to lend out your crypto. We're not quite there yet. Everything's just getting put in place right now. Kicking off yield blocks. DAO Sprout is back with the brand new domain. So what Soroban means for yield blocks. The yield blocks DAO was started to bring lending and borrowing capabilities to the Stellar network, and will continue to work towards this mission after Soroban goes live. As Stellar has evolved, so have the tools available to deliver a lending and borrowing market on Stellar. Now, I believe in the future, when more and more money pours into these cryptocurrencies, that's when we're really going to see the passive income options, the borrowing options. It's going to be endless. It's just that we're so early in the crypto, none of this has been built out yet. We're seeing the first signs of it now. Excited to see the rise of fintech in Kenya. From M-Pesa to open banking with its focus on financial inclusion, it's no wonder Stellar is making an impact in this space. And it's literally country after country now opening up to Stellar. But one thing I want to point out here is this. Digital banks are gaining popularity, especially among millennials and tech-savvy customers who prefer to bank online. Examples of digital banks include N26, Monzo, and Revolut. Fintech has also facilitated the creation of mobile banking applications, which allow customers to access banking services through their smartphones. Examples of mobile banking apps include M-Pesa in Kenya, Paytm in India, and WeChat Pay in China. Now, as far as digital banking in the future, you can possibly become your own bank because of crypto. Think about it. You might be able to have ways of you lending out your Stellar to people in the future and getting paid back with interest. You'll also be able to earn passive income that way through that same interest. Plus, you could also borrow in the same way. I think we're just getting started, and I can see Stellar becoming a digital bank in the future as well. Decentralized finance on Stellar is going to kick off this year. The Stellar ledger is perfect for DeFi. There's no doubt that LumenSwap will be one of the front runners in the development of new protocols for the people. XLM LSP will directly benefit. And again, LumenSwap is very big as well. If 2023 is a new starting point for the altcoin season, I think XLM is underestimated and its chain trading is active. Now, let me tell you something. 2023 looks like we're starting to turn around as far as crypto. We're starting to see some price movement to the upside around these cryptocurrencies finally. And I know it's been frustrating watching it go sideways for such a long period of time. But I also believe a lot of that value is starting to be seen. Like we're just starting to see the early signs of it. A lot of projects are going to take time to build out, let's face it. I do believe by the fall, though, probably closer to November, December, I could see XLM sitting above $1 at that point. I believe we're going to see it really take off once Ripple wins against the SEC. Who knows, it could surpass $5 easily just off of that happening. But right now, we're still at that time where we got to stay patient, stay positive, because we got to continue holding. We held this long. What's holding for a little bit more? Because like I said, XLM is going to be high valued. It's just how long you want to wait for it to happen. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you watching my videos. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.